Good morning. We're here again doing a program for Armstrong for my dog and me, and we are this time in a little bit different setting than the usual place at a veterinarian office, or sometimes you've been at the dog park watching some of the programs that we've done. This time we're in the city council building, right, Mike? Down here in Meadville, and I'm really excited about this program because this program is going to involve something that I know absolutely nothing about. I've met the Meadville police dog, but I thought that everybody in Meadville and also in the surrounding Crawford County need to know a little bit more about Feri and a little bit about you, Eli, and the role that Chief Tautin plays in this whole thing. So we're going to spend some time and give you a chance to learn about Feri, and hopefully then you'll understand a little bit more about police dogs and their role in the community. So, Mike, we're going to start with you. You don't mind if I call you Mike, do you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. My question is, what's the history of police dogs in Meadville? Have there ever been ones before?
Yes, I believe back in 2002 or 2003, when Meadville got its first police dog. At the time, Patrolman Rich Scalco was the handler. I believe our first dog was named Sinbad. He was on duty for several years, and then, if my memory serves, retired. I believe we got a second dog with Patrolman Scalco until his retirement back in 2012, 2011.
So the same police officer had two dogs in a row.
He had two dogs.
And then who was next?
And then Sergeant Beveridge, Greg Beveridge, became the next canine handler with canine Lilo after Patrolman Scalco retired.
Well, what makes a police department decide to get a police dog? I mean, a lot of them don't have them. So as far as Meadville was concerned, or if you remember, since you've only been a chief for a period of time, but you've been with the police department longer, what makes a police department say, hey, we're going to add a dog to the program?
A lot of different things. Need, depending on the discipline of the dog. Our dogs have always been kind of multidisciplinary drug dogs, trying to combat our local drug problem, but our dogs, are trained in searching, and being the county seat, largest, municipal department in the county, it made sense that we'd have this tool available.
Where do you get them?
I believe our last several dogs came from Shallow Creek Kennels.
And where's that?
Where is that?
It's in Sharpsville, just past Greenville, south of Greenville.
Okay, so they come. He's from overseas, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's actually from Hungary, and then came over on a boat.
So this kennel in Greenville makes a decision that they're going to be involved with police dogs, and then they bring them to that kennel, and then a police department such as Meadville or any other police department would go to them or apply to them to get the dog.
That's correct.
Okay, do you have any idea what type of training they get before they get here?
I know. Just from what I've been told, they just started at a very young age, almost puppy, and then just small steps, the progression, and then when they feel that they're ready to come over, then they, whatever kennel, Shallow Creek Kennel, if they pick that dog, then they pick up their training from there, and then it continues on throughout their remainder of their lifetime. And then obviously after the handler gets them, the training continues from there.
Well, Mike, how do you determine who gets the dog? I mean, how many policemen, I'm from Conneaut Lake, so I don't understand that much about Meadville Police Department. How many policemen do you have here?
We're a 22-man department.
You're what?
A 22-man department.
22 people, okay. So who decides that Eli gets the dog?
So my assistant chief and myself, first kind of canvass the department to see who would have interest. Obviously being a canine handler is a lot of work. It's very intensive, training on your off time. So we first have to find someone who really wants this position, because if they don't want it, they're not going to rise to it.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Right.
We had 3 or 4 officers put in for it, and so then I have to weigh each officer's strengths and see who would make most sense to be the canine handler.
Well, not individually as far as every officer is concerned, but what type of things are you looking for?
Self-motivated, hardworking, willing to put in time after work. This takes a lot of time, a lot of training outside, so they have to be very dedicated to the program to make it work and to get the hours they need in training.
How many other police dogs are there in the area? Conneaut Lake had one for a long time. I don't think they have one any longer.
They do not.
So
who else has one?
As far as I know, Camber Springs.
Okay.
However, I believe they're transitioning handlers right now. so I don't know if that dog is on call. And then Edinburgh, Landon Silva has Kenzo, so I know he has a dog up there. I think the state police have some, but they usually come down from Girard, if I'm correct. So, but they're more of a single purpose than a dual purpose canine. So.
Well, you said something, transition from one handler to another. I would think once the dog comes, this dog's attached. This is Feri.
Correct.
Tell us about Feri, then I want to know how attached he is to you. He looks attached to you.
Yeah, he's very. Since I've had him, I took him home, I believe, on the second or third day, and he's been with me ever since. And
How old is he?
3 years old.
And
So-
you've had him for how long?
2019, since August of 2019.
So you've had him almost 2 years. So when you got him, he was a little over a year old?
Just about a year and a half, yes.
Okay, and he seems very attached to you.
Yes.
Do you have dogs at home?
I have one. I have a lab German Shepherd mix.
Okay, so you get this dog, you bring this dog home, and you spend time with him before you bring him to your house. And what was the adjustment like for Feri and for your dog and for your family and everybody else?
Yeah, I think it's more or less just a big adjustment for my wife. That'd be like a big question for her, but just if I'm not around, her having to adjust to the dog and trying to learn the different languages, commands, and trying to gain a little bit of the trust with him to get that interaction so he would listen a little bit.
That's a huge undertaking.
Yes, it's not just a big part on me. My wife is a big part of it too, and my kid. I have a young son, 2 years old, and they actually get along great.
So there's you, your wife, and the 2-year-old child, and the other German Shepherd.
And the other dog, yes.
Oh my Lord. Your wife has got to be under the grounds of sainthood to tackle this battle. This is a big one. Mike's over there shaking his head like, oh yeah, this is a lot. Well, you said, what language does this dog speak?
Dutch.
All Dutch.
All Dutch. I mean, he understands, the American words such. If I tell him to leave something alone or no.
Leave it, no.
Here. Yes.
How many words are in his vocabulary?
That's a good question. A
10?
lot. Yeah, around 10.
Should we ask him?
In Dutch?
In Dutch.
Yeah, 10 to 15, somewhere around there.
Okay, so let's get back to the kennel again. So the kennel's in where? Greenville?
Sharpsville.
Sharpsville, well, close to Greenville. So you got the dog and you went down there and met him. And then did you have to go to training with him?
Yes.
How long was that?
It's a 6-week program. So we just basically, it's a 8 to sometimes 5, and sometimes we got out of there a little later. So it just depended.
Well, no, wait. Was he living with you when you did the training, or was this all done before you got him?
No, he was. So you have the option of staying down there. They have a great establishment, and you can actually. They'll house
I
you.
think I've been down there once.
They'll house you, but I opted to travel back and forth. So we traveled every morning and every evening back and forth to the kennel.
And so, you bring him home. He moves into your house. Is he crated in the house?
So it started out first crating him, and then slowly progressed. Let the other dog, my family, walk around him, just to make sure there was no barking or any. I was looking for certain signs, any aggression. Just let him take in all smells and everything from my family. Get used to him. If I had to take him outside to slowly progress the stage with my other dog, I would have my wife walk the dog around one part of the yard. I'd walk him around the other way and slowly integrate them in, and then eventually let them meet face to face.
Mike, he was dedicated. This is an awful lot of work. This is a tremendous amount of work with him.
Yes, every day.
Every day.
It's a 24/7 job.
Okay, so he was crated when you first brought him. For those people that are watching, I'm a big advocate of crates when you get puppies or young dogs or first move them into your house. So does he sleep in a crate now?
No, not at all.
Where does he sleep?
Next to me.
On the floor?
On the floor. He doesn't really get in the bed.
Okay.
It's usually at the base of the bed, just next to the bed.
Okay, Mike and I are coming to visit you. We're going. Where do you live in Meadville? We walk in the house. Are we going to have an issue?
No, if it's a familiar face, I usually will confront the door first, and then he'll usually be beside me if he's familiar with you, and he'll usually sniff you. If he recognizes you, he'll walk off and do his own thing. Unfamiliar face, I'll usually crate him, and then slowly, again, begin that process again. Slowly integrate somebody, let them sit within the living room or wherever it is that he's in the crate. And then when I feel that he's comfortable with that person being in the household at that time, I will keep a close eye on him and progress that level there.
These are all techniques that anybody uses that brings any dog into a house.
Yes.
What about when you come to a meeting with all the police officers? Is he there?
Yes.
How does everybody respond to him?
All the other officers?
Yes.
It varies. Some are very hesitant, obviously.
It's the breed, too.
Yes, some are very hesitant, and then you got some officers that want to be playing with them and get.
Are they allowed to?
I have to reassure them to, hey, it's a working dog. This is not just your average dog. So they're allowed to, but it's got to be on his terms.
Okay, well, let's go back to the training, because I'm going to keep you on guard here and make sure you follow my outlines that don't really exist. So what was the training like that you did with him?
It started out just getting to meet him, and then obedience training was conducted first. And then really the training started with me. He was already up to speed. This dog's he already knew the game, and that's what it is to him. It's game, it's fun. For me, I had to learn to walk around a car going, if I'm doing a narcotic, I had to learn to walk around a car on my own. I'm holding a fake leash and trying to do all this stuff because I'm trying to get caught up to the level that the dog is at. And then the obedience, same thing. I'm out walking around in a field by myself with an instructor yelling out turning commands, and I'm turning around. I'm talking to a dog that's not there, praising a dog with my high girly voice, like, oh, good boy, So I'm trying to get caught up to this dog. So that was the beginning stage. Then I get introduced with the dog. Then I start working with the dog, and then the progression, that bond starts. So we start connecting and working with one another, and then the obedience, and then we progress from there into narcotic work. And then obviously apprehension, tracking, and article searches.
You have a German Shepherd at home?
Yes.
A part or a mix? Or?
He's a mix. He's a Labrador too.
How did he differ from yours?
Ooh.
It's more intense?
Way more intense, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I can't explain the drive in these dogs. It's an alpha male, that's for sure.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I guess they have to be.
Yes.
Do any dogs not make it in the program? Or did you ever ask them that?
I have not seen any issues with any dogs down there. Jeremy Riley, who's a lead instructor from my understanding, goes over with the owner, John Brand, and they select their dogs. And
Over to...
whichever part of wherever they may go. They may go to Germany, Hungary, the Czech Republic, wherever they would get their dog.
Wow. Tell me more about him. Okay, bring him up here, sir. Can we bring him up front? I met him about a month ago, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes, and I sat down and he came over and it didn't seem to be an issue at all. But I saw someone then walk in where we were, and it was a gentleman, and he was right away on point. Right. Looking to see who is this coming in. Mike, did you have trouble with him when you first met him?
No, he's been, mostly, all of our canines have been very well behaved, so I've not had an issue with any of them yet.
Do you ever get complaints about your police dogs from the community?
No. Luckily, for the most part, we have a very supportive community, and everyone seems to love the dog.
You're very intense there, Feri. I really can't believe that. You're really giving me the big eye look here. I was going to ask you something else about him now. So he is your partner. What's his role? So you get a police dog. What's his role in the community?
Well, he does.
He's with you. He's your partner.
Yes. So, He obviously his skills are to obviously protect the officers and the general public if somebody's in need, if somebody's in danger. He's also again trained in the narcotic work, so sniffing out narcotics.
You ride by yourself?
Yes,
Okay, you don't have a partner?
I don't
You
have a
just have
partner.
Feri?
Correct.
Correct, okay.
And then obviously tracking, not only tracking a suspect, but say someone with dementia, which we have done. If they go missing, we can track and try to find that person too.
Oh, wow.
Or yeah, lost items. If somebody's lost an item, if they have an idea of possibly where it is. Not only if someone discards a drug, but if somebody loses their wallet, if they call in, we could try to track that and locate that
Can
item.
you do that?
Absolutely, yes.
Feri, I have a lot of things that I've lost in my house, and I can't find them. Could I invite him out? You ever see those shows on the radio, and they say, I've lost something, and someone says, I'm a psychic, I can tell you where it is?
Yeah.
I could call you, Feri could come to my house or to wherever, and you could find it for me. Huh, that would work, Feri. You and I could be buddies, we could be pals. So have you done any education programs?
So I have not been able to do that with Sergeant Trango. We've been.
And who is he?
He is a school resource officer
Where is he?
at all the local elementary schools, West End, First District, Second District.
Okay, and is he also at the junior high or the middle school and high school?
No, Officer Mogul would be up at the middle school and senior high.
Have any of the classes ever asked to have him come in, or could they, or should they?
They absolutely should. Just one, we could conduct some presentations. They could see what the dog is used for, certain different aspects, and then also teach dog safety. You can teach your kids some safety lessons about the dog and how to approach a dog. If the dog should approach you first, how to go about handling one.
We've done a lot of that with the, were you going to say something, Mike?
Yeah, historically, we've done this in all the local elementary schools. With the pandemic, kind of clamped down on everything, so Eli's not had a chance to get them into the schools, but all of our other canines have yearly dates in most of the elementary schools to go in and do programming, let the children meet the dog, get some demonstrations.
We do an awful lot of that. I have the therapy dogs in Crawford County, and we do an awful lot of that, taking them in there. And the one thing, of course, is you should always say to someone, which I hope they say to you, may I pet your dog?
Yes.
You know what's amazing? The kids are really getting good at it. Do you know who's not good at it? The parents. I've been over here at Diamond Park doing a program like for the Y or something like that, and every little kid, and I have to really say, the teachers, all of you, the police, everybody's done a wonderful job saying, may I pet your dog? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes someone who comes running over, and sometimes I have my dog that looks like Lassie, so of course the older people know Lassie, the younger ones don't, but they, oh, Lassie, Lassie, and come running over, no concern for whatsoever, and grabbing and hugging the dog.
Right.
They're like brain dead, some of these people. They don't realize that you shouldn't be doing that. And I think we've gotten pretty good at pushing that and saying that that's just something we just don't want people to do. Now, if somebody walked in here right now, would he bark at them?
No, but I imagine he would be a little bit alert as
He'd
to
be on point.
on their presence. Yeah, kind of what you had witnessed.
Whenever we were up at that other place.
Correct. We came in. You were all in his frontal, and he realized. Okay, there's no threat here. Then my back's to the door, and a large male figure comes
Yes.
in, and he's kind of just has that. So that kind of
And
alarmed
boy,
him.
he went on to point right away.
Kind of just alarmed him a little bit.
Huh.
And that's my responsibility to always be watching him and keeping him on that leash and making sure he's good to go.
Well, let's talk more about what your family does with him. I mean, they all interact with him. If you go to Walmart today, does he go with you? Or does he stay home?
He'll stay home.
Who's home with him?
Off. Well, if my entire family goes, just him and my other dog. And it would have to be crated.
Who has to be created? Both of them?
No, mainly him.
Mainly Feri.
Yes.
Oh, Feri. Okay, so, and tell me about him with the 2-year-old.
There's no issues. However, I still keep an eye on him.
Oh, I would too.
You never know. Again, I have to remind myself that he's a working dog. Shallow Creek Kennels, preaches that from the day you get there. This is not your average pet. This is a working dog. So I have to keep that in my mind as well constantly, and always keep an eye on him. I don't leave him alone with my kid in a room. I don't leave him alone with my wife in a room.
Yeah. Well, you know, we were talking about this before we started the program, and we were talking even on the phone about the difference between these therapy dogs and just regular dogs that people have. And one of my biggest complaints is we've got the therapy dogs, and people misidentify or misuse the terminology therapy dog. People think, I'm a therapy dog and I can fly that dog on the plane and I can do this, that, and everything else. No, you really can't. Therapy dogs have no rights whatsoever, and the only ones that have any rights whatsoever are the service dogs. And he is beyond that. He's like a service dog that's a working dog at the same time. So we've got to really be careful about that and people realizing that you cannot misrepresent some of these dogs. German Shepherd wise, a lot of the German Shepherds we know, I don't know whether you're aware of this, but you know the Westminster had a German Shepherd that won Westminster, maybe last year or the year before, wasn't it? I think it was somewhere in there then. But he happens to be the straight back German Shepherd. There's a lot of German Shepherds that have that slope back. He looks like he's just built like a brick. He's so strong. He just is so powerful. He looks so powerful.
He is. A lot of quickness and a lot of strength behind him.
Wow. Well, how much does he eat?
I'll usually feed him 2 scoops in the morning and 2 scoops at night.
And that like raisin bread, dogs raisin bread. 2 scoops of.
Yeah, he'll get the Purina Pro Plan Sport, which is just a more high in protein, and then the fatty content.
So he gets 2 cups of that, or 4 cups, or.
So he gets 2 cups usually in the morning, and then 2 cups at night.
Do you give him a lot of treats?
He's actually not a big treat person.
A lot of dogs are trained with treats. So they're not trained with treats down there?
No, they're actually trained. They love the appraisal from the handler, and then also they have a toy, and that's a ball. And I usually keep that with me. This dog absolutely just goes crazy for a ball.
That ball or any ball?
It could be any ball,
Just
but this one here, if you pull it out, his attention is right on it.
So he's not treat oriented. He doesn't just do it. I mean, if he sits down, you don't give him a treat, lay down a treat. Some people over treat their dogs.
Right.
And then they get bigger and bigger and bigger and wider and heavier and that stuff. But he's not treat oriented. That's interesting. I had a dog one time that was my oldest therapy dog that I put down in July, and I never gave him treats. And mine was constant affection, petting him, kissing him on the top of the head, saying good things to him and stuff like that. Where my other 2 that I have, or the other ones I have more than 2, they're very treat oriented. Open up the treat jar, and my God, it's like, oh my God, there's a treat there. We're all coming to get it.
Right.
What about your other dog? Is your other dog treat oriented?
No.
Not really.
We got lucky with our other dog. We've had no issues with him. He's just one of your perfect kind dog. You don't have to yell at him too much. You don't have to tell him to come here too much. He's pretty good. He does his own thing. So.
Okay, well, now here's some good questions for you. Who pays for him? How was he paid for, Mike?
The city paid for him.
Is that a grant, or is that just...
There were some grant funds, and the city picked up everything over top the grant.
Are you allowed to say how much in a ballpark, what they cost?
I think the dog and the training was between 12 and 15,000 of memory serves.
That's about right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure maybe you guys are aware of this, but the Canine Partners for Life was a program that used to be around here in all the prisons. And they were raised in the prisons for almost 2 years at Albion and Cambridge. And then they went down to Canine Partners for Life down in York, Pennsylvania. But to get a trained service dog that can do things for you because you need help doing something, they run somewhere in the neighborhood of $12,000 to $15,000 also. So who pays the bills now? Who pays for his food?
The city does.
The city does.
You just hand him, how does that?
It's okay.
So you have a stipend of money for him.
So usually how it works is he comes up to my office every few months and says, Chief, I need food. And then I go pick up the food and deliver it to Eli.
Oh, okay. Who pays for the vet bills?
So the veterinary hospital here on Park Ave has been fantastic. They take care of any regular vet bills, the flea, tick medicine, any just routine checkups. However, I mean, if it comes down to a surgery, it's not covered. Such as if he gets hurt on a job, shot, stabbed with a knife or anything, then that's going to be up to us to take care of that responsibility.
In the past, all the veterinarian hospitals that were involved with Cambridge and up at Albion, all the different veterinarian hospitals took the care of one dog, and they paid for everything for them, which is so thankful. And the one on Park Avenue does that for you.
Correct. Yes.
That's great. What about a car? What kind of car does he ride in? Does he ride in a police car? Do you have one police car?
Yes.
We have one car set as the canine car, it has the cage in the back and then all the tools that he would need. So it's a single-use car just for him.
What do you mean a cage in the back?
Just the compartment for the dog to sit in.
Is it crated? I mean, is he crated? No.
So it'll have a light tin sheet of a wall, plastic, and then obviously the flooring for him. There's a rubber mat, so he's not just laying on a hard surface, but he'll have a rubber mat so he's more comfortable back there.
Oh, so you took out the second seat?
Yes.
Yeah, you basically
Oh.
yeah. It's the back cage. It's built for the dog specifically, so it's not built for transporting prisoners or having someone just regularly sit back there.
So it's only for a dog.
Yes.
So does that car say Meadville Canine on the side of it?
Yeah, it'll say caution canine, and then obviously it would be the canine unit.
He sure goes on point as soon as he hears sounds here.
Well, that's exactly what he's doing. If you're wondering why he's behind me, he keeps hearing something out in the hallway, so he's making sure that
That you're safe.
yes, that we are safe. Yes,
We or you?
we.
If somebody came in and went after the chief, would he protect him?
He would. He would pick up on it, but then he would be looking for me for any cues.
For you to say,
It's okay.
whatever.
Yes, either get him or watch him, or yeah, he'd be listening for my cues to.
Mike, you better be nice to that dog. For fear someone comes in here.
You
And nice to Eli too.
better protect me.
Well, that's right. You're the chief. You need to be protected. Can you show us anything he can do? Is there any, like if you were doing an elementary program, what would you show us? What would you do? What would you tell these kids? Or what do they do in these education programs?
Well, I've yet to do one, but
I mean, command you. I
yeah,
didn't hear you speak.
basic obedience, and then they would do some narcotic stuff. If they wanted to see a track, I could do these presentations for them.
When you told him to do something now, you didn't speak Dutch to him.
When?
When you had him lay down, did you?
Yes, I did.
Do it again.
Here?
What did you say? Feri, what did you say?
Fair. His name, getting his attention. Sita, that's Dutch. I want him to sit down. Off!
Sita, wait. Sita is sit.
Sit, and then off, I want him to get down.
Instead of down or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
Instead of lay down, off, and then I want him down.
What if you want him to stay there and you're going to walk over towards
Off.
towards the table here?
I'm gonna reassure him, off! And then I'm gonna come over, off.
We have his attention now. Is that ball?
Yes,
Boy, he's not moving.
no, off. You could just,
He doesn't take his eyes off of you.
no.
Could you come to my house and train my dogs?
Oh,
They need help. They're nowhere near this. Unbelievable. Now, how do you get them to come to you?
Here, off.
Did you say here or did you say, what did you?
I did, I told him to come to me, and then I down.
Was that Dutch that you just used? I thought it was here.
That's, yeah, just basic here. Off. Good boy, buddy. Good job. That's a good boy.
Now,
Rudolph.
Eli,
Off.
oh, look at that. Does he, now, whenever you work training on him, do you wear one of those white outfits? Those ones that you are all padded?
So I don't off.
We could use Mike. We could, don't do that, Mike. They could dress you up in one of those outfits.
We have plenty of officers who volunteer
I bet
to
you
help
did.
with training.
Yeah. So other officers have donated their time to assist me with any apprehension work. And that involves a hidden sleeve, which would resemble more of a regular human arm. Then you have your outer one arm sleeve, and then that would, obviously he needs to be able to apprehend that correctly. And then we have a bite suit, a full bite suit, and there's we want him to apprehend that correctly. But other officers have donated their time, and I'm thankful for it. And he's actually very thankful for it.
Feri is.
Yes.
You said fair before to him.
Correct. Off! It's,
Did he ever respond without you saying it that loud? Or did they tell you to say it that loud?
that's more of a reassurance thing. And then if it gets to the point, I'll actually growl at him to make him understand that I'm serious with him. Hey, you need to stay there.
Is that how you correct him? By
What?
growling?
Yeah, so obviously you see he has a pinch on. We don't want to get to that point.
No, we don't.
We don't want to get to that point, but they have a thing where it's a 5-to-1 ratio. So I just basically I'll tell him a simple command. If he's not following that, then I'll growl.
You pop him with the pinch.
If it has to get there, and then I'll growl on the second one. I'll use a little more of a growl, and then obviously the third one it'll progress from there. And then if he's not listening by the 5th time, he may need correct with the pinch. But I haven't had to do that often with him. He's pretty, as you see, he's pretty good. Oh, good boy.
Oh, it's just wild to get to that ball.
Yeah. Off. Good boy. Yeah, he loves it. That's his favorite thing to do is play with this ball.
Is it just one ball? Just that one?
Just a ball
You
with a
can
rope.
buy those same ones, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't want him grabbing my arm like that.
Yeah. Off.
Oh, we're hiding it. That's how you do it.
Oh.
All gone, huh?
All gone, yeah.
All gone.
So that's just some of your basic
Do you?
here.
Where's he going now?
That was a good question. Probably for that tape.
Oh, probably for my roll of duct tape. Huh? How often do you get in the bath?
Maybe once every 6 months, just because they have the coating and the oils in their hair. Try not to lose that with them. Dry out his skin. So maybe once every 6 months, give him a good bath.
How about those people that wash their dog every 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks? They're crazy. As you say, that dries out the oil.
Right. And you can see he has the shine, which that's what we're going for. It tells me he's healthy. He's in good shape at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's somebody going down the steps, which people cannot hear, I'm sure, behind us. And boy, he is really listening to that. He doesn't miss much, does he?
No.
What about at your house? Is he good at the house of somebody?
No, it's a total different dog. Just he knows he's not at work. It's playtime. It's a relaxation time. Almost just blends right in with the family and go about family life instead of work. The minute I grab my uniform, he knows we're going to work and he gets excited and he's ready to go.
Does he have a pinch on all the time?
No,
Not at home. At the house he doesn't?
no, he doesn't have it on at the house. Sometimes here when I'm at the station, I'll take it off, but I'm apt to watch him a little bit more closely, or just he's pretty good around the guys too. So.
Well, let's go back to the point of the what he costs, and now we're going to talk about the fact that thank heavens for the Humane Society place on Park Avenue. They're taking care of that for you. What are some other needs that you have, or Mike? What are some other needs that we have for this dog?
So we've had a few donations come in. The ball that he loves so much. We purchased a few of those from a local donor. One of the bite sleeves. So, equipment wears out.
What's
Things
on your
come up.
wish list for the dog program?
My wish list is just to have enough funds available to that whenever he has a need, we can fill it without missing a beat.
Okay, so I'm a person that lives in Conneaut Lake. I'm obviously a dog lover with the dog park, but if I'm someone who's really into dogs, and you certainly have a lot of them here in Meadville, you have people that love dogs more than probably family members and everybody else. How can they make a donation, and how do they do it, and who do they send it to?
So
And tell us something about that.
they can send a check just to the police department, care of me, with instructions that they want it to go to the K-9.
Put it down in the memo.
Yep, and then he has his own account that we've just been, slowly trying to build up over the last year or so, and if Eli has a need, then we can go to that account and take it out.
How do you spell Feri's name?
So they spelled it when he came over, F-E-R-I.
And I kidded you when I first met you, and I said, "Are you sure it's not spelled F-A-I-R-E?" And we
Yeah.
had that discussion, but F-E-R-I.
Correct.
So they could put in the memo, F-E-R for Feri, F-E-R-I, and that would be designated to go to him.
Yep, and it would go into that one account until there's a need that we draw it out.
Are these German Shepherds, since you've had German Shepherds, are they prone to any particular illnesses that hip dysplasia probably a little bit?
Yeah, the hip dysplasia, I know. I mean, I haven't heard of too many dogs down there. I just knew of one that did get like a lump or a cancerous tumor, and which they have a great staff down there. They were able to take care of that dog, get it treated at the time, and they were actually able to get it back up in a certain amount of weeks and let it continue throughout the training and with the handler.
If you never plan on getting rid of them, do you?
I hope not. I hope
I
the
hope not,
city.
too.
I hope the city lets me keep them throughout the remainder.
If they ever decide that they're going to get rid of him, then we're going to be back on Armstrong.
Okay.
And we're going to be screaming into the camera saying, "Look what's happening. They're trying to take Feri away from Eli, and we need Feri to stay as part of the Meadville Police Department."
So each dog upon retirement is first offered to the handler. So
Okay.
I believe, our fourth dog now. The handler in every case has taken the dog with them.
It would be very hard to not do that. It would. How long do they usually stay as a police dog?
I believe their working life is 6 to 8 years.
6 to 8 years.
Is it really?
Mhm.
That's nearly after that they start slowing down a little bit. And how often does he have to be retrained? You told me you're getting ready to retrain or get recertified. What were you just telling me that when I first came?
Yeah, so we're required once a year. I mean, we're not required. Once they're certified, the dog's certified for his remainder of a lifespan.
That
But
means
the-
after you went down to that training, and
Correct.
before you got him, he was certified as a police dog.
Yes, but the city and the chief, they require that we go down once a year, get recertified. Just reassures that the dog is at his best and there's no concerns or no doubts or questions. And then he's also mandatory. There's a mandatory need 2 hours of narcotic work a week, and then total of 4 hours. So total of 4 hours a week. We've got to have some narcotic training, and then also tracking, article, and apprehension work done.
So this isn't sit back and just drive around Meadville in the car. You actually have to work with him most of the time and just reinforce constantly.
Constantly. I'll act, and I try to confuse him. Sometimes I have, with the drug stuff, I had, used a rag or something, and then just while I'm out, if I have a moment, I'll just toss the rag somewhere, have him search for it, or take my chapstick, and throw it out in a field and test his ability. Hey, go give him that command, go
Can you find it?
Yes.
Mike, so something's happening in Meadville, God forbid, tomorrow, and who decides when he's called out?
The officer in charge of the shift, if there's a need within the city, will call him out.
There's a need to have the police dog, to have Feri, and then you have to go right away, obviously.
Yeah, just make the decision. Obviously, it depends on what it is. I'll say another agency called out and they want the K9 do a narcotic sniff on a vehicle. Well, I want to know why. Because in order for me to go out, they got to have some kind of reasonable suspicion for him to even go out and start sniffing the vehicle. We don't just say, okay, coming. Got to find out what the reasonable suspicion. I know. Find out what it is, and then we'll go out and conduct the sniff of the vehicle, or whatever it is they need. Track somebody that's lost, or what's happening. But
How many times a month do you use him as a police dog? Give me a guess.
last month we probably about 8 to 9, somewhere around there.
Is that the average, 8 or 9 times, Mike?
Yeah, I haven't run the numbers in a while, but that sounds about right.
Sometimes it's a little bit slower at Christmas time. it's, you know, around then, in the winter some of the winter months, it might slow down a little bit.
Now, what's he want to do?
He just wants to play, just getting antsy that he's sitting
Well, yeah,
still.
because you had that ball out.
Here. Here. He just wants to get up, move around, and get to work.
Mike, is there anything else that we want the people that are watching this? Remember, this goes out not only on Armstrong, but I believe it also goes on to YouTube. What else do you want people to know? Anything else that we've forgotten to talk about?
He's a working dog, but as far as I was concerned, he was more of a community tool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I loved that we were getting him into schools and children were able to learn and interact with them. The public relations part of it was amazing. In big parades, we'd have the dog walk around, within the spectators, and everyone gets to meet him. So it's been a great public relations tool over the years.
Do you have to worry about who pets him?
No, it's just, I try to tell someone before they just run up, just, let him come to you first. That's the biggest thing. Let him come to you and be relaxed on his own terms, rather than forcing yourself on him.
When he's working, are you always in uniform?
Yeah, I try to be. If I get called out in a hurry, sometimes I may, but I'll always at least have my vest or something identifying who we are.
Mm-hmm. So we want people to realize Feri exists in Meadville, of course. We've done that. We went to the training. My God, I was amazed at that. And him in your house. What's your wife going to say if I ask her about him?
That's a good.
Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, I stumped him.
That's a good question.
This has got to be tough. Honestly, I'm sure it is very, very hard for her with, what, a 2-year-old?
With the 2-year-old, he's got obviously he's got different rules than any other regular dog out there. It's
That's probably my phone going off.
yeah, it's just he is a working dog, so it just requires a lot more work. The training away from my family obviously takes me away from my family.
Sure.
The call outs in the middle of the night, it's usually my wife picking up the phone and yelling, "Hey, wake up!
You gotta go.
You gotta go."
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you very, very much, Chief Tautin. Thank you very much for letting us come in and do this.
You're very welcome.
Eli, I appreciate the opportunity. It worked out well, I thought, and I'm hoping that everybody has any wants to know more, they can contact you. And again, if we want to make a donation, I send it to you at the police department. And in the memo, I put F-E-R-I.
Absolutely.
Again, F-E-R-I in the memo, and let's get some, build a little bit of a fund here for Feri, so we don't ever have to worry about anything happening to him, or anything going wrong. Okay, thanks very much. Join us again on any one of our programs. You can watch us on Meadville, Armstrong, and you can also many times watch these programs on YouTube. Thank you again.